Hi Leela, can you please unmute yourself and switch on your video?
Yeah. Hi, Yogesh.
Yeah. So hi all of you. Good morning. Thank you all for joining. We have with us Miss Leela Sowjanya, so software engineer and test at ChargeBee. So today she is going to give a talk on introduction to software testing. So she has a good experience in both manual and automation testing. So she'll share her experience on the industry. So, so please do make use of it. So over to you, Leela. So please switch on your video and you can start.
Yeah. So, hi, Yogesh, and thanks for the good introduction of me. And I think I no need to introduce myself. So, good morning, guys. Good morning, everyone. I'm Leela. So, and today we are going to discuss about testing. So, what is testing? What kinds of testing we have, or what is manual testing, and what is automation testing, and all. So, before directly going into this discussion about testing, I feel let's have some knowledge sharing session on what is testing about. Let's just give me a. Yeah, guys, sorry for the interruption. So we'll just continue. So yeah, what I was saying about before directly going deep into the testing, we'll just have some knowledge sharing session before directly into the testing. So what I was meant to say is, um, I think mostly everyone is a basic tester or basic testing qualities everyone would have. Why you're stating this is, in let's take a formal example. So when you want to buy an electronic device, say example a television. So when you buy a television from any store, what are the first things you're going to do? Is the things like first you will choose your a preference, a brand, or the preference inches, or whatever you wanted. So you list out your all your features and you make out a thing which you want to buy out. So everything your require has met and you have chosen your preference. So now what the first thing you will do? So right before purchasing it, the first thing you will do is you will test it, right? So without testing, you're not going to buy it. So that's what I meant to say is, without a product is being tested, it's not going to release in the market. Maybe it's in the real life experience, in the real time, or even in the software. So unless it's being tested, we can't purchase it, or the customer can't release it into the market. So that's what, even consider it in the TV or the television case. You'll just check the remote control whether all the buttons are working properly, or the quality of the television is working fine or not, right? So even the small case also will just every minute detail will just test it and buy it. So in the same case, when it comes into the software, so every minute detail of that particular application or particular software should be tested, right? So that's how I'll say our testing will be began in every aspect or every feature. And then it's a very basic and a common instinct of a human. So every human has this basic testing qualities in them. And people we they also say, like, we have many careers, like we have a development career, we have testing career, we have the other career paths like in network areas people used to work. But why testing? Why specifically we have to choose testing, right? So because though every career object or every path has some own difficult areas in its own way, but testing has its own advantage, I can say, because the example we saw, right, while buying a small instinct, we were minutely checking. So in the same way, testing has its own advantage, and maybe with a little bit of practice, or maybe some thinking in different perspectives, I believe we can be a very good test engineer, a very good testing profile we can create. Right? So that's how our testing is, I can say. Why testing? So we can easily say it's a very, very flexible path to choose as a career. And people, I mean, there is a myth like there are no such opportunities in testing career. No, I don't think so, right? Because, and it's a very big no. We have many career objectives, many career paths. Like, I can be a manual tester, or I can be an automation tester, or I can be a performance tester. And you, even if you have a quite good knowledge on the requirements, you can be a good business analyst. As a business analyst, in the sense, who will go to the client and who gather all the requirements. Maybe when you're going to be into a testing profile, I believe you have to get into with these keywords of what is a client, what is a customer, what are the requirements. So you'll get used to it, because these are the words which we are going to use. Furthermore, like in every aspect, we are going to talk about only in these terminology. So the client has given us the requirements. Now we are going to test it. So this is a functional testing and so on. So we have to get used to it. So I'll continue. That's like business analyst, or we can even become a security tester. So we have multiple, or many career paths we have, and there is no closure for testing now. Because why I'm saying is there is no closure, because have you seen any application or any device or any software which is without being tested? Does it has been anywhere released into market, right? No. I believe no, because if not, without being tested, nothing is going to be released in the market. So definitely there has to be a testing job included in the software process. Let's say we have, these days we are using many applications like Amazon, or like Flipkart, WhatsApp, or many websites are there. So do we think without without being tested they are going to release? No. So it's not going to be happen like that. And even people can say like, why can't the developers can test it? Yes, even I agree, developers can test it. But there is a case, or there is a drawback, where these developers can test it to to particular extent, maybe not perfectly. Example, let's say I'm a developer. So my client has given me some requirements. He is asked me to develop a text messaging application, which with the mobile numbers which are registered. So some sort of application which I should test. I should send messages, or we should vice versa, we have to receive. So I have developed my application. I have just gone through with all my requirements and I've developed it, right? So the first thing, and they asked me to test it. So they're asking me, I mean, a developer to test it. Will I able to do it? I can say maybe, yeah, maybe I can develop it. But the problem comes is I can test it, but I cannot test to that particular extent. To maybe I can't reach the limit of what customer is expecting. So how perfectly his software should be, maybe I can't cover all the corner cases, because my eyes will be covered with a layer, and I can't cover all the possible ways, because it's my own application, and I can't find all the defects. And there are people who say like, oh, there is no coding part, we just need to do uh, just manual writing test cases, or manually we should execute them and all. But no, no, we have a coding part. So where this automation comes into picture, in this automation where we do a lot of coding, lot of logics. And we can also use our favorite languages. So everyone, we can use Java, we can use Python, we can use .NET, we can use C, everything we can use, but with a combination of C. So that's a different part. But what I'm was my conclusion is like, we have a lot of coding part even in testing. So people, they can't simply say, oh, you're not going to do any coding part, you're just simply manually writing test cases and all. So that's not going to be happen. So that's how testing has evolved in many ways, and it's a very essential and a primary thing in order to release any application into those. So yes, and before going into this, maybe the topics, I mean, right now, till now we just saw what is testing, what is the perspectives, what are the myths there around for a testing and all. Now we are going into the main part of the session, which we are going to cover topics like what is software testing, what is manual testing, what is automation testing. So, um, what is software testing? So, technically, I can quote as like it's a process of validating or evaluating the functionality of a software, and to uh, find the, to functionality of the software with the intention is, and my intention is the software meets its exact requirements. Right. So, what is this validating, evaluating? It's everything is technical, right? But simply the main thing of what software testing is, the particular application should be a bug free. In the sense, it should not have any defects. It should be a defectless product. So that's all. Maybe we will discuss with a example. Like, there is a client, so, or a customer, he come up with a requirement. So that should, he's saying like, I want an application, and my application should be developed in XYZ process. It should work in such a way, XYZ process. So here he has given us the requirements. Developers have gone through their requirements, and they developed it. So finally it's been given to us for testing. So now this testing part comes into picture. Now what actually this testers are going to do? So they, now the first thing is they'll gone through the requirements, and they will check. They'll check like what the application has been developed, whether it is working exactly in the XYZ process. So if it matches, they'll say, okay, your application is working fine. Or else, if it's been deviated, or let's say it's not working in XXS process, it's working in something else, then it's a defect. So defect is also a terminology we used in testing, which when where we can say the client is expecting something and the output is something. So, and in that particular scenario, we can call this a defect or a bug in the particular software or application. So unless this particular bug or it is fixed, we can't release the product into the market, because a defectless product cannot be released into the market, because it may cause the customer a huge losses, right? So that's how the testing is being evolved. Maybe the clear example would be, let's take an Amazon application. So what is an Amazon application? I just opened my app, and I have chosen all my favorite products. So what I was going to buy, I have listed all my products, and I have selected them. And with this, I have some coupons in handy, which I'm going to use in payment page. Now what I'll do is I'll add all my products to the cart, and I'll go to checkout page, where I'll apply all my coupons. So now in the payment page, let's say my products are 600 worth rupees, and and my coupons worth 200 rupees. So what exactly the scenario would be? And now, my payment, I should pay around 400 rupees. That's how the basic calculation works. So it's 600, my coupons were 200, so I should pay 400. So irrespective of showing 400, if the Amazon application started showing 600, or 500, or even it is showing an 800, does the customers are going to buy it? No. So in the sense, the particular Amazon application haven't tested the calculations part while releasing it to the market, right? So this is an example where maybe this can be called as a very major scenario, or a excuse me, or a big scenario, or a big test case. Yeah, someone. Sorry for the interruption. Keshav, I think someone raised a hand. Uh, I believe I'm not getting input. Does someone has any doubts, or can you just, or else I'll just continue with. I believe I didn't get any input. Maybe I'll just continue with my thing. Or if you have anything, you can just raise your voice.
Continue, ma'am.
Okay. So yeah, that's what the scenario we have these days. I mean, that's what software testing is. And basically, and before that, the main software testing aim is we should not break a software. So we should find or we should have a measures to make the testing more accurate, or to make the product more accurately. I mean, that's how the testing or software testing is always includes. And in this software testing has two kinds, which is like a manual testing, or and the automation testing, sorry. So let's come up into the basic picture of manual testing. Like, what is manual testing? Is And the manual testing is nothing but we need to test the software, or the application manually, in the sense, the customer has given me a requirement. Now what I should do is, first I should understand what he's expecting. So after expecting, I need to break that requirement into multiple user stories. User stories in the sense, any different scenarios, like the same. First, the entire requirement I should break. Once it is a login scenario. The second one is product page. For the example, we'll talk about Amazon. So I should log in properly. And the second thing is I should choose my products properly. And my third user story is the calculations should be done properly. So this is how the total application is. Now I'm breaking into three multiple parts, right? So again, for these all the requirements, I should prepare my test scenarios, I should prepare my test plans, I should prepare my test cases. So why we are dividing is like test plans, scenarios is the thing is. So with the help of these test cases, we are going to test that application which is being developed, right? So the test cases in the sense, let's take maybe because with the help of these test cases only, we can have a clear picture on what we are testing. Let's take this login page itself. For this login page, what I'm going to do is I have multiple ways to log in. And before all these things should start, the main thing is the software test engineer should become an end user, in the sense, look, I'm a common man. So when some application is being given to me, I should test it like, oh, okay, I've given up Amazon. So I'll open, I'll choose my products, I'll go to cart page. Maybe I can buy that product, or may not be. I can go back and I can delete, I can choose a different product. So I don't know, I'm a end user, don't know what in what perspective he'll use that application, right? Such that a test engineer should become an end user and think in his perspective, and should work like that. So similar way, for a login, let's take this login functionality as an example. What I should do is, I'll write, first I'll break this login scenario into multiple test cases. What exactly a test case means is, what we are testing is being written in a document, which is nothing but, let's take this login, right? We were talking about login. I'll say is, uh, I should log in with a valid username and a valid password. Actually, what does this valid always being called? I mean, valid in the sense, while registering into that particular application, you have been given your name, your mobile number, your email address, right? So when these details are being stored into the respective application database, it being called as a valid username. Valid password is, while setting, right, while creating that particular application, we have been given whatever the password we want to give. So when these two things are proper, when you click on login, then it should be it we should open it, right? So daily I'm using multiple applications, so I should log, and while whenever I'm logging in, I'll give my proper username and credentials. So what I'm expecting, as a basic user, I'll expect my application to open, and I should see a home screen, right? So that's how that's a test case. So I'll write what the user will do in a form of a document or in a form of text. What the action we are going to do, we used to write in a text, like login with valid username, valid password, and a home, and click on login, so that my home screen should appear. This may be one of the positive scenario. Or, and when it comes to negative, we can say when I've given wrong username, let's say if my username is Leela at Gmail, I'll give Amazon at Gmail. Does it work? Right? No, right? So the similar way, I'm giving all my wrong credentials and expecting me to log in. It doesn't work in such a way. So it can be called as a negative scenario. So that's how it will work. So that's how manual, in the sense, we used to write everything, the actions, all actions, we used to text it in a document. And later, this document, with the help of this document, we used to perform all actions manually on the application. And along with this, in the text document, we may have uh, a few other columns. The first column, we can call it as actual result. Actual result in the sense, what user is expecting. What user will say is, if you give proper things, it should log in. So that's my actual result. The other column will be expected. Expected in the sense, I'm sorry, what expected will be, it should log in. Actual will be what, whenever the application is developed and we are giving it, the result will be actual. So what exactly that is coming from the application. So with these two columns, we'll judge whether this application is working properly or not. So we will manually test that application. So that's how this manual testing is. And we have many different kind of manual testing. One is functional, and one is unit testing, black box, white box. There are multiple terminologies. So I mean, I think in maybe in the other session we can clearly get deep details into this manual testing, how we can write a test case, how we can what is meant by functional testing and what is meant by black box, and how can we do it, how can we perfectly approach all these testings and all. So it can be cleared in the maybe in another session. This is like overview, how manually testing will happen on an application, how we break down whatever the user is giving us, right? So this is a brief introduction about manual testing. So now let's get into a third topic. What we are going to discuss is automation testing. And everyone will, before going into automation testing, I mean, maybe we have few questions like, actually, what is automation testing? And the second is like, we have manual testing, it everything is going smooth. Why we need to shift to automation from manual, or what might be the reason? So okay, that's our second question. And the third question would be, I mean, what is the advantage of automation testing, right? If I have moved from manual to automation, there might be some advantages. So what are the best advantages? So that I have to move to automation testing. And we are saying like automation, so we can, it's a complete software, this and that we are talking about. What exactly this automation has, what exactly the tools we are going to use in this automation, right? So we are going to discuss all these questions. So now let's get into our first question. What is automation testing? So automation testing maybe, it can be technically sounded like application is tested with the help of any automation tool, or it's a software method of testing and executing the test cases with a special tool. Okay, what is this tool? What is this application? Look, it's sorry, yeah, sorry. I'll continue. So that's what. So what is this testing and everything included, right? So we can, I mean, simply we can say like automation testing is a same manual testing, but with a different approach, with a different technology, with a different tool, or the same execution, the same testing will happen, the different approaches. So that's a very simple form of automation testing, we can say. Right. And we do all this testing with the help of some tool called Selenium. So later we can clearly get what is this Selenium, how can we make use of this Selenium into our coding. As we already mentioned, like in automation we have a lot of coding, lot of logics we have to use. So what is this and all, so we'll discuss it clearly later about Selenium, all these coding things. Now let's get into our second question. What is, I mean, why we shifted from manual to automation? Because now we can see manual testing, we have, we are breaking the requirements and we are testing, writing test scripts, writing test cases, and we are executing them manually. We are finding defects and we are making software very accurate, and we are making it very efficient, and it's been releasing it to market. Everything is going smooth, right? So why this sudden a movement of shifting from manual to automation? Everyone has the same question. So, what I feel is now we'll discuss this, the shift from manual to automation with an example, which we are going to discuss about in later, which will give you a clear picture of this shift or this movement from automation, manual to automation. Right? We'll have this clear picture in the example we are going to discuss now. And before that, we'll just move to our third question. Like, what is the advantage? Okay, okay, right now I have, anyhow, I moved to automation. So, what is the advantage? What is the gain I'm getting because I shifted to automation? Right? The first and very foremost advantage is save time. Save time in the sense, example, if you're manually testing an application, it might take 10 hours, right? But when it comes to automation, the testing, we can reduce it to 2 hours, right? 2 hours, in the sense from 10 hours to 2 hours. See how much time we can save it. So if it's for an individual person, but when it comes to a team, you can have a graph where we can see from 10 hours to 2 hours per single person to a group of 10 people. So we can save a lot of time, an enormous amount of time, right? So these days the time is very most important factor. So that can be achieved through automation testing, right? It's a very foremost advantage of automation testing, right? And second one is speed, increase speed. What is speed? What suddenly this physical word speed comes into this automation testing, right? Right. So speed in the sense, if I'm testing my application in like I have for 1 hour, I'm just validating or verifying 20 test cases. But with the help of automation, I'm doing it in hardly 10 minutes. So, I mean, my speed of working is improved. So, testing, I'm testing it in 1 hour in manually when it comes to 2 minutes. So 1 hour to 2 minutes, I'm increasing my speed, and now with remaining almost 50 minutes, I can test another scenario or another user story. So I'm increasing my speed and increasing my productivity. This increased productivity is one of the third advantage, where earlier I used to work a day, but I couldn't complete a user story. But now in the single day, I can run the same automation script and increase my productivity in working. I can test more and more user stories, more and more applications. So end of the day, I'm saving all my time. I'm increasing my speed in work, and I'm increasing my productivity in testing all of these things. Look, with the help of this automation, we can achieve multiple things. So if you're going to list out all these things, then our session would be closed, because we have a lot of advantages. And though we have some disadvantages, like we can see, we have, I mean, every coin has two sides. So the similar way, even though it has multiple advantages, there might be scenarios, a few things we may or may not achieve. So those things will get into detail later. Right? So, and the fourth question, what tools we are going to use. So we say we are, with the help of some software, we are testing another software, right? So this, what is this software, or what are the tools we are using, right? So the first tool is Selenium. So when it comes into testing, we heard lot of things about Selenium. Yeah, Selenium does this, Selenium does that, Selenium is the best tool and all right. So why is Selenium is best tool? Because the first thing is, it's a free tool which is available in the market. Everyone can make use of Selenium tool with have some basic network. If you have network, then you can simply download it, and it's available in the Google. It's a very free tool. So everybody who want to become, or who want to have their practice in automation, they can simply download Selenium tool, and then they can start working on it. So that's the biggest advantage of Selenium. Now all these product based companies and every MNCs, they start using, or they're already been using this Selenium, right? Because it doesn't need any license. Because of its own advantages, Selenium has become the best automation tool these days, right? And the one more tool is a Test Complete. It is also a very good tool for automation, but the only limitation is it's a license tool. So unless if you want to make use of Test Complete, we should buy it. So we should buy and make use of it. So because if and Test Complete is also have an advantage, even though it has some limitation. The advantage is it can test a web desktop applications, which will be available on desktop. We can't have it on mobile, or we can't have it on a web based applications. So that's the advantage of it. Anyhow, we can, even though it's a licensed tool. So it is one of the Test Complete is one of the tool, and Selenium is one of the tool. And we also have another tool, QTP, or UFT, Unified Functional Testing. It is also one of the tool which is used in early stages. Like then after, because of more advantage of Selenium, the Selenium comes out in a top position. Many people have started using it. So, and there are many tools which in the market which are available if you want to start coding, or if you want to start automation testing. Yes. And now we are going to discuss clear why we shifted to automation. We have already said it in the second point. Maybe with the example, we can get a clear picture, right? So we'll just discuss with a basic scenario. A client has come up with a requirement, and first thing is, in the initial phase, uh, client is saying we should log in into his application, and we should see a product page. So that is his requirement. Now what developers or testers, everyone do is, they'll break that requirement into two parts. One is the login part, the other one is product part. So what the developers have developed it and has given us. So what we'll do is, we have different functions. Once we'll test for the all login functionalities, all different scenarios with valid, invalid, or text and all. We have many cases can be written on login functionality. We have tested it. Again, we started testing for the product page. So it is done. Everything is done. Everything is a bug free. It's a good product. So we release into the market. Now, in the second phase, what will happen is the customer or the client, they come up with a new update, right? Because these days we can see every application, everything has a new update. The technology is moving, so everything comes with a new update for every each month, or maybe it depends upon how accurately they're developing it or how fastly they're developing it. They might have multiple updates. So similarly, in the same example, our client has come up with a new requirement. So what he is expecting is he want to uh, minimize the end user time, in the sense, after login, the client wants, rather product page, he want a help page, which is in the sense what exactly the end user is looking for the product. If you ask for in that help page, it will directly display it. So that's how the customer come up with the requirement. Now again, the same process will happen again. They'll divide it into two scenarios. Again, we need to test. So do we think again the same login functionalities, again all the testing team are going to sit and do it manually, the same process? Because it's a very, I mean, can say waste of the same time, the same testing. Again, we have to do it multiple times. Every time client will come a new update, again we are not going to test it, to sit and manually write manually. We are not going to test it, right? So that's how there that the point where automation comes into picture, right? Because maybe in the initial phase, once we come up, what are the scenarios we have developed or manually tested, once we come up with test scripts or automation written for them, maybe in the next phase or maybe in the third or fourth phase, we can simply run those automation scripts and save a lot of time, and we can accurately test it. Just give me. Yeah, guys, sorry for the interruption. Yeah, so because so this point of time when we have our scripts or automation which being developed in a first phase, every time when this new update comes, simply we can have our automation ready. We'll just add the data and we'll execute the scripts. Maybe we can save a lot of time and we can accurately give the product. And because there is one more thing, maybe humans or manually while testing, there is a chance we may miss something. We may miss uh, like any one of scenario which may be a minor or which may be a major. We're not sure. We may miss a scenario. But when it comes to automation, a software, it has a chance of giving accuracy more than manually what we're doing. So that's the one another advantage. We have a more accuracy compared to manually testing it. And we also have a very live example. I think most of you updated WhatsApp, right? So yesterday, there is a WhatsApp update. Earlier, we used to have a video call with four members at a time. But uh, because of yesterday's update, we have an eight members call at a time. So do you guys think while they are giving this new feature or new update in the video call for WhatsApp, they are going to test the other scenarios also, right? They're not going to manually test it, right? So they're going to use this automation where this all testing can be done within simple, very very less time and very accurately. Because WhatsApp, we can see WhatsApp has multiple updates, and few days or a few weeks back there was one more update which is a dark theme and a normal theme, right? So they're continuously giving us updates. In the sense, in the back end, they're not going to sit manually test the WhatsApp or all the features they're giving. They are making use of this automation, right? So that's how this automation has been evolved, and we are make use of it a very enormous use we have for this automation. And even this in this automation we have many tools, or how can we start our automation testing, and with the help of Selenium, how can we start coding? We have a lot of topics to be discussed in this both manual and automation testing. So I think this all discussion will be a brief view on like what is automation testing and why we are chosen for this automation testing and all. This and all brief description. Maybe in further sessions we can individually go into each topic, or how each application we can take example, and we can each clearly describe what is functional, what is internally manual testing will do, how we can achieve automation, how can I start coding with the help of automation, right? So maybe in further sessions we can have a clear picture on that. So till now, if you have any queries or like have any questions, you can post it. So this is how, I mean, this is the entire session. This is what we have discussed till now. If you have any questions, please post it. So I believe, is it clear, or maybe it is you didn't get it, or maybe this silence, how can I take it? Maybe I feel everyone is clear, or yeah, there is a question like, is manual testing still alive today? Yes, exactly. There is still manual testing going on, because in order to do automation, definitely we should write test cases, or we should go on through requirements, and we should start having user stories, scenarios, test cases. So until unless manual testing is done on a application with the help of those test cases itself, we are doing automation. So definitely I can say yes, we have manual testing and it's still alive today, which is a foundation for automation testing. Which is better, developer or test? Look, it's like we can't judge any particular path whether which one is better. It's up to everyone's own perspective, because in testing we have, in both, in when compared to development and testing, we have same what can I, same coding knowledge, same coding tests. But testing is a very flexible job, which we can have how I can say, like it's a basic human nature, like to test a thing. So when you're given something, so first thing you will do whether it's working fine or right. So that's how you have a basic knowledge. So with the help of that, you can be a very good test engineer. If you have coding, in even in testing itself, you have many coding skills. So people say if I become a tester I can't do coding, so that's not the point. Maybe earlier in cases, in case of manual, maybe there is a scenario like this, but now the both development and testing has both one. So yeah, which, I mean, look, in terms of salary or in terms of money, we can't judge a particular job, because when you have such a capability or such talents, and even there are scenarios where in terms of money both can be equal at a particular scenario. So we can't define any job respective uh, their pay. It doesn't depend on that. So even if you have such a great capabilities, you can be on the same page. So yeah, one more question is, yes, we both developer and tester if tester can code, why do have developer and test? Yes, if tester can code, look, what we are talking is about testers can code in the sense the logic we can have with the help of this coding languages. There are different perspectives. So developing an application would be different. We are talking about the coding skills in the sense the logics we are going to use and all. For developing an application, we have some different paths, but in both the paths we are saying like the logics or the kind of technologies we can use the same. And maybe if you have maybe a great coding skills, maybe one or the other day you can become a developer. There are scenarios where a tester where a person has started his career as a testing, but he has an excellent coding capabilities, so he has been shifted to developer. So there are scenarios like this. If you have an ultimate or excellent capabilities of coding skills, it can be a tester can do a developer role. But there are less chances for a developer to become a tester is because he can't test his own uh, development. Because that's what we discussed, right? We can't The developer can't cover all the cases. So yeah, any more questions? So I think everyone have done with their questions. Then we can have this session. Is so yeah. Yogesh, I'm done with this the introduction of this session,
Sure,
and
sure, 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 Leela. So you're done?
you can take over.
Yeah. So thank you all for joining. Thanks, Leela, for spending your time. It is really worth. Mm. Thank you once again for joining. So
Yeah,
we'll meet in the next webinar.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.